Hi everyone, it's Rob Watson, the module leader for TECH1002. I'm just going to give you a brief overview of the next piece of coursework that you'll be doing for the module. We've done coursework A, which was the setup of your blogs and your wikis, and I've spoken to you this week about any issues that need to be resolved, like the change in the DIY DMU category, making sure your name's displayed correctly. If you can go back over them and look at them and make those changes, that would be great. If your blog still isn't being fed through onto the DIY DMU site, go to diy.our.dmu.ac.uk, have a look at the site. You might be listed on the right hand side. There's a contributors list. You have to scroll right down to find it, but it's there. If your name's there, that means that's okay. Just double check that your blogs are being pulled through into the site and that you can read other people's blogs as well. So once we've got that set up, it's then a question of moving on to the next piece of coursework, which is we'll talk about 2 and 3, coursework 2 and coursework 3, in kind of almost combined, if you like, but I've separated them out in terms of marking so I can give you some feedback around about Christmas time about the first part of it. So the object is, after Christmas, what you're going to be doing, and you're planning ahead for this now, is to set up a social group, like a club or maybe a kind of informal society, something where you get together as a group of people who hopefully get on, friends, people that you're starting to get to know. And what you do is you do something which you can't really do on the internet. You do something which is about meeting up and kind of a social activity. So last year we had groups which were based around making bread, getting together and kind of working in a kitchen and kind of putting different types of bread and experimenting with learning how to make bread as a group. Did that with cake making. There was a group that did afternoon teas, which kind of went to different cafes in Leicester and kind of shared an experience of drinking tea and having coffee and kind of trying out different kinds of cake. There was a group that were interested in cars, and they used to get together. They had kind of cars, so they'd drive to different places in Leicestershire, and they'd meet up and they'd kind of chat to other people who were interested in cars. So it was kind of car meets. There was a makeup group. It was a group that wanted to talk about and share their experience of makeup, and they used social media. There was a card games group. There was a meme making group. So there's lots of ideas there. You'll find the ideas for these, the work that students did last year, on the DMU Commons wiki. And it's there's a link I've put up onto the wiki page, which is if you go to the social group project, and then if you need to search for it, you search for the TECH1002 social media group project. If not, there's a link for the group project page, which is just underneath the coursework and the exam component on the module wiki page. So you might just need to dig around for it a little bit to find it. But the main emphasis on the coursework is to really do something that you can't do just online, just virtually. It's really about doing something where you kind of have to meet up. So you're making something, you're participating in something, you're playing something, you're doing something. And then what you'll do is you'll use social media to share and to explain how you did that and what's involved, and hopefully to encourage other people to participate and to come along and join in. So it kind of opens up your network of people that you know. It increases your sociability, if you like, and it does so on the basis of something being quite fun, something that's quite open. I don't want this to be a kind of a hard exercise, if you like. There's time for that later on in the module. What I want this to be is something that you do almost implicitly. So you share images on Snapchat or Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, and you use social media as a way of finding out what you want to do. You'd use social media as a way of saying what it is that you're doing, and then you use social media to think about and evaluate what it is that you've done. And what you'll do is you'll do that evaluation through the wiki page. Each group will set up a wiki page where you kind of use it as a virtual meeting room, where if somebody came along and wanted to know what was involved in your project, you'd really just direct them to the wiki page. So if I wanted to find out when you meet, who do you need to contact to get involved? Do I need any special equipment? Do I need to prepare in any way? Do I need to go to the shops and buy anything? All of that information will be on the wiki page, and you'll have links to the blogs and the social media that you're using to share that. If there's a hashtag that you use, if there's an Instagram account that you've set up, if you're using kind of Vine or Periscope or any of those kind of social media platforms that are freely available for you to access. So the kind of things that I'm looking out for is that when I come to mark this, I'm really looking for your evaluation of how this worked. And that will be expressed in your blogs. You get marked individually for this project, even though you're working as a group. One of the things I realised a few years ago was that students don't really like working in groups, and often something will go wrong and there's a lot of pressure as a group. So I thought, you know what, how can we do this individually? You still work as a group, you run your wiki page as a group, but then what you tell me about in your blogs is what you do, what you'll get marked on as an individual. So at Christmas, what I'll do is I'll be doing some marking in the week after we break up, the week before Christmas, and I'll try and get you some feedback based on the blogs that you post and the wikis that you and the wiki entries that you share about how well you're doing, what you can do to improve it. If there are any examples, does this make sense from the point of view of somebody who's an outsider who might want to get involved? So that'll all go through your blogs and your wikis. Each week what we'll do in the lab sessions, we'll talk about this and discuss it. We'll look at different ideas. We need to look at different examples. I'm going to start to use the language of social media, of how this shares and how it's spread, and kind of how it's accounted for. So we'll try and tie some of this in with the reading material that you'll be doing, and that's listed on the weekly lecture list, and issues and ideas that come out of the lectures that we do. So there's a kind of an approach where we start to tie these things together, and you start to get a sense that these kind of interlink with each other. Okay, yeah, you're doing something which is local to you, which is personal to you, but is anybody else doing this kind of thing on the internet? Is this kind of thing talked about somewhere else? Is this something that you can look for examples in other places that you can learn from? So it's really important that you hopefully come to the workshop sessions, get to the workshop sessions so that we can talk about these things. The groups are being set up over the next couple of weeks as people develop ideas and share ideas and come up with new ideas and maybe revise ideas that they've had. And then we'll kind of solidify that around setting up each of a wiki page that you become part of. So I'll try and explain this in more detail as we go along. We've got an activity to do in week 8, which is based around library information. So there's a specific activity that we need to do then. But you can be researching and looking at the pages that the students produced last year and starting to look at some ideas of how you might make this work. How do you run a social club? How do you make something accessible? How do you do something that people can participate in and enjoyable? Make it enjoyable. What do you get out of it? So hope you, any questions, write them down in your notebooks. Hope you have an interesting time thinking about this and planning this and setting it up. And we'll discuss it as we go through the next couple of weeks. So I'll speak to you soon.